Hello everyone, it's Tracy. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks very much for joining me. Today I'm doing the assembly tutorial for the elegant desk bin. This project has been designed by Nicole Silhouette here on YouTube, and I shall link her YouTube channel in the description box below. The elegant desk bin is available as a digital cutting file in Nicole's Etsy store, and it's also available as a cutting die set in Beki Store, and I shall link both of those in the description box below. So let's get started. I've got all my pieces cut out and I'll go through them with you now. So I have all the pieces here, and to begin with we need these three pieces here. These are the sides of the bin. And you can see I've gone ahead and folded on the score lines and put double-sided tape on the glue tabs. That's the base of the bin. Now we're moving on to the pieces for the lid. We have this piece here, which is the finial, or the top part of the finial. And this is the bottom part of the finial. And I've gone ahead and put the double-sided tape on all of the glue tabs, like you can see here. Next up we have this piece. And this piece is one of the main support pieces for the lid. And you can see I've put the double-sided tape on the glue tabs. This is the top part of the lid where the finial gets attached. And these pieces here form part of the middle part of the lid. And there are 12 pieces. And I've gone ahead and put double-sided tape on all of the glue tabs for these pieces. And the piece looks like this. The top tab is a mountain fold. The two side tabs are a mountain fold. The next fold is also mountain, but the bottom fold, the very bottom tab, is a valley fold. And I've gone ahead and done that on all of those pieces. Next up we have the decorative trim that'll go around the bottom of the lid. And now I'll move on to the decorative layers. These are the decorative layers for the outside of the base of the bin. These smaller rectangles go along the decorative trim. These are the smaller pieces with a fold on them. Go on those 12 smaller pieces that form the middle part of the lid, as I'm showing here. These triangular pieces go on the top of the finial. And these pieces here go on the bottom part of the finial. Now in the digital cut file, and more than likely the die set, that these two pieces here are actually one piece. I separated them in the digital cutting file so I had two separate, so I could do two different colours, one up the top and one down the bottom. This piece here is a decorative layer for the bottom of the bin. This is the decorative layer for this piece, which is the lid of the bin. It's a decorative layer for here. And I also went ahead and cut another 12 decorative layers for the inside of the bin that are the same as the layers that go on the outside, and I cut them from white cardstock as I'm showing here. They're the same as those. And I wanted to do that so that I could put them on the inside of the bin to cover up the glue tabs and give the inside of the bin a nice finished look. It is optional, you don't have to do that of course. Now we'll move on to the assembly of the bin. And we're going to start off with putting the base together, and we need these three pieces and the base of the bin. We'll just put that to the side for the time being and get the sides of the bin put together. And you can see that there's double-sided tape on a glue tab on that left side edge of all of those pieces. I'm going to take away the backings of the adhesive and just join these pieces together, taking care to line it up and be as precise as I can. The base of the bin is quite easy to put together. So just joining that last piece onto the other two pieces, and then I'm going to close the shape up. So just getting this last piece aligned, giving it a burnish, and then I'm going to join this shape up. Like so. and just giving that a good press to make sure the glue gets a good stick. And you can see the base of our bin coming together. So I'm going to bring in the base of the bin here, and it's going to go in with the glue tabs on the inside. It's a little bit tricky, like so. And the best way I found to put this into position was to take all of the adhesive backings off the adhesive, and starting with one tab and working with my hand on the inside, getting one tab affixed first, just getting it positioned, and then go over to the opposite side and affix the opposite tab, and at the same time tucking the other tabs in. It is more trickier doing this with the double-sided tape. It would be easier to use glue. And once you've got the two fixed points, you can see that the other tabs just fall into place. So I'm just taking my time here, making sure the tabs line up on that inside edge of the bin, and just tucking them down and working with my left hand on the inside of the bin, pushing against my right hand. Just taking my time, making sure that it's looking nice and neat, and then going in from the inside and pushing the tabs against the side wall that may not have adhered when I was doing it from the outside. Just making sure that it's all looking nice and that I'm happy with it. And it's looking good. But you can see the glue tabs down the bottom and also the side glue tabs. So this is where I'm going to stick these 12 decorative layers on the inside edge. It's also going to give the sides of the bin a bit more strength too. This is optional. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. I just chose to do it for strength, and also because it does finish off the inside of the bin very nicely. You don't see any of the glue tabs. So it's worth doing, in my opinion. So I'm just getting all those 12 layering pieces on the inside. So just getting that last one in place, and you can see now how nicely that looks, nicely finished off that looks on the inside. The bottom glue tabs from where we glued the base on are covered up by those decorative layers. So I'll put that to the side and we'll work on the lid. These are all the pieces that you need for the lid, and to begin with we'll put the finial together. So I'm just taking the backings off the adhesive to join the top part of the finial together. And next up we'll move to this piece here, and I'm going to join the two sides together. Like so. The smaller tabs are the bottom and these bigger tabs are the top. So I'm going to take the backings off the adhesive off all those tabs and join that top part of the finial onto this bottom part of the finial. And this is another part that just start with one tab to begin with, and then go over to the opposite side and get another tab in place. It is trickier doing this with double-sided tape, and you can see that I'm fiddling around here, trying to get those tabs inside without the double-sided tape grabbing on that underneath side edge of the finial. But double-sided tape's easier for the tutorial. So you can see it's coming together there. I'm just pressing all those glue tabs into place, and that's our finial done. Now normally it would go through this piece here, like so, but then the decorative layer won't fit. So now's the time to put the decorative panel in place on that top part of the lid, because you won't be able to do it once you've got the finial in place. Just ask me how I know. This is the second lid that I've made for the tutorial. So I'm just getting that into place onto the top part of the lid, pressing it down, making sure that glue is getting a good hold. And then I'm going to put the finial through the hole there with the glue tabs tucked in. And then once that's all nicely through, I'll turn it over and I'll fold the glue tabs out. Then I'll remove the backings off the adhesive and push down against that base or the bottom of the top of the lid there. And this is another time where you start on one side and swap over to the opposite side to get 2 anchoring points. And then you can go around and take the backings off the other adhesives and work your way around. And the reason why I do this is because it helps the shape go into place more accurately and you don't end up with a wonky top of your lid there. It's just a handy trick I've learned over the years and it always works. So next up we're going to put together the middle of the lid, and that involves these 12 pieces here. I'm going to remove the backings off the 2 smaller tabs that are on the side, on the right hand side, and I'm going to join them together. Taking care to get it as precisely as I can. These are small tabs, so you will need to take more care than usual. So I'm going to join all of those 12 pieces together by these 2 side tabs. You can fast forward this if you like. So I'm just joining the larger tab first and then the smaller tab. The smaller tab does actually angle the top of that middle section, so just bear that in mind when you're joining these together. So just getting that last one glued onto its neighbour, and then we'll join this shape together. So the smaller glue tab is at the top and the larger glue tab is on the bottom. And I'm going to remove the backings off the tabs that are down the bottom. And those glue tabs are facing up. I did find it easier to do this flat on my work surface. Then I'm going to attach that bigger ring to one of the tabs on the side, getting that anchoring point. Then I'm going to go over to the opposite side and get another anchoring point on the opposite. And that helps get everything else into place perfectly. If it gets a little bit tight, don't worry. It does sort itself out and it becomes not tight at all. I'm just pressing down all of those tabs to that piece. And they're attaching to the underneath side of that larger ring. I'm just making sure everything's in position nicely and pressing it down like so. Then we're going to attach the top piece. Again, taking the backings off all of the adhesive. And I'm going to affix to one tab first, getting that first anchoring point, jumping over to the opposite side, getting that second anchoring point, And then you can see that everything else lines up nicely and you're able to press these glue tabs against that underneath side of the top of the lid there. It's much easier to finagle it around and make sure that it's nice and even and straight. You will get a better fit doing it this way, as everything lines up as it should. So I'm just pressing all those glue tabs down, making sure they're nice and stuck, and that's our lid coming together nicely. Those tabs on the bottom there, they will get folded down. But first we'll put our decorative trim together by removing the backings of that tape and attaching them side by side. We don't close that long shape up just yet. I'm going to remove the backings off those tabs on the bottom of the lid. It's just easier to put it flat on my work surface to take these backings off. And then I'm going to take one end of the decorative trim, just pushing down those tabs, and attach it to one of the glue tabs on the side of the lid, taking care to line it up and be as precise as I can. This trim will fit exactly onto these tabs, and as long as you take care putting these on, they will fit perfectly. So you can see I'm just taking my time, making sure that it's fitting precisely. And once we get right back around to the start, I'm going to take the backings off the last tab on the end and tuck that in and under, joining the two sides together. And it's a perfect fit. And that's our lid. So just giving you another look at the lid there. And on the underneath side there you can see all the glue tabs. And I do go back a bit later on and fix that up by cutting the decorative layers that were on the top. I'll cut them again from white cardstock and put them on the inside. So I'm just here putting the decorative layer onto the base of the bin, and I've just cut mine from white. This gives the base of the bin some strength as well. And now I'm putting the decorative layers onto the outside of the top of the lid. The first one being this layer here that goes around that larger edge. Just getting that into position. And pressing it into place. So our bin's almost finished. I'm just now putting all the decorative layers into place on both the lid and the base of the bin. So I'm putting the finial layers on now. You would recognise this paper. I do use it a lot. I do have a lot of it, although I think I'm down to my last 2 sheets of it. It's a lovely pattern and it's in my favourite colours of purple. And I'm going to put these silver pieces in place on the bottom of the finial. Again, as I mentioned before, this particular decorative layer is actually one piece. In the digital cut file, I adjusted the file so that it would be 2, and you could probably do that with the cutting die set as well. Cut it from your patterned paper and then also from your solid cardstock, and then just cut it if you wanted 2 different looks on your finial. That's optional, you don't have to do that, of course. Next up, I'm going to put these little decorative layers onto that middle section. It has a score line on the top edge, which assists in positioning it and gives it a nice shape. So I'm just gluing them down and pressing them into place. I always like to use glue when I'm sticking my decorative layers down. Because you have that wriggle room to get things into position nicely. So just getting that last one into place, and you can see it's coming along nicely. Next, I'm going to stick these little rectangle decorative pieces into place along the front of the trim there. Just getting them all stuck down. And then the only layers that we have left are the decorative layers that go on the outside of the base of the bin. Just getting that last piece in place, and that's the lid with its decorative layers. And now I'm going to go ahead and put the decorative layers on the outside of the bin. And you can fast forward this if you like. When I was putting this bin together and I was sorting out which papers I was going to use, I was even considering just doing like a neutral colour and then embossing the panels in a basket weave type embossing folder that I have. I thought that would look really nice too. It would have a realistic look to it. And you could also make this bin without that decorative trim, or you could cut that the scalloped edge, you could cut that off and it would be a more masculine looking bin. And you could decorate it for a guy as well. There's a couple of options there, and I think one of the other crafters on Nicole's Facebook group, I think her name is Jean, she did hers so that it looked like a flower pot, and that looked terrific too. And I particularly liked the black that she did hers in. So that's the outside of our bin with its decorative layers on, and the lid fits on. You do have to finagle the lid the first time you put it on, and the elegant trim around the edge does make it a little bit tricky. But the lid does fit on perfectly. You can see that here. And I love the way that this bin has turned out. It is quite large, and it would be nice on your desk to put the adhesive backings from the double-sided tape in. I think that's what Nicole uses hers for. So you can see that it's all nicely finished off on the inside there. If you're going to give this for a gift, then I would recommend putting the layers on the inside. And I'm going to do that on the lid here as well. So I've got a close-up of the lid here. And what I did was I cut the exact same decorative layers that are on the outside of the lid. I cut them in white and I put them on the inside of the lid. And what that does is it covers up all of the glue tabs. So here's a lid with the glue tabs exposed. That was my mistake lid from earlier. And this is the lid on the left with the decorative layers on the inside. and you can see that it's nicely finished off and you cannot see any of the glue tabs. This of course is optional. You do not have to do what I have done and cut all those layers again and put them in the inside of your lid nor the inside of your bin. It's entirely optional. That's a personal choice. I just liked the look of it without the glue tabs showing. So you can see here that I've gone ahead and decorated the top of my lid. I've kept the decorations fairly simple. I've just put some sparkling gems around and some flowers and some teardrop shaped gems onto the top of the finial. I kept the decorations on this fairly simple as I wanted the paper to speak for itself. And again, the lid just goes on. It's a little bit tricky with that elegant trim, but it does go on. And I'm happy with the way this turned out. This could be decorated in many different styles. Like I said, you could do it for a guy by cutting that scalloped edge part off that trim off, and just that scallop bit, not anything else. And that would give it quite a masculine look, I think. So I hope somebody gives that a try. So that's my tutorial finished for today. I hope you've enjoyed watching and you feel inspired to make one of these elegant desk bins. Don't forget to check the description box down below for the links that I have previously mentioned. And if you'd like to subscribe to my YouTube channel, I would really love that too. Thanks very much for watching today. Have a great day, and until next time, it's bye for now.